Over the five first years, we were in charge of energy and environment, and for 5 years, we worked to shift the techniques in this area to change. And over the past 3 years, we have rather focused on the materials for urban renovation. We invested in brick, we invested in construction. So the cell I'm in charge of is involved in the construction and renovation for about 180 million euros per year. For example, the SDRB, which is a constructor that deals with middle-sized housing. So ARD is a public society that has two jobs, the building of average housing, and the other one is the management of housing stocks and economic development. So about 1,300 accommodations per year. It's an autonomous society with its own board. So at the level of the government, we fund the society and we supervise it, but at the same time, this body has its own board. So sometimes in terms of relationships and in terms of change, there has an impact from that point of view, and sometimes we have to adapt to the different stakeholders we are dealing with. And I can imagine it's the same thing in every different city with every different operator. So the way I went through this change to passive, I think it's a matter of people. It started around 2006, 2007, when in terms of skills in energy environment, we met people in that society, people that were motivated. Nathalie, for example, Nicolas Joshko, the head at the time. These were people who really wanted to make a shift. And at the time, we had tools, and we managed to adapt them. We they managed to bring a change of mindset. Of course, it went through several milestones. Nathalie will show you these milestones, the tests, the projects, without really moving to passive buildings. And then the first pilot project of passive building of about 30 accommodations. And since 2009, all the projects carried out by ADRB are passive. And we are now receiving the offers for a project that will be made up of about 500 accommodations, 450 maybe. And we're moving up to a different scale. We're moving to the scale of a whole neighborhood being built in passive. So as a brief conclusion, since I only have 5 minutes left, I would like to show you how positive it was for me to integrate passive as being a standard of construction. We saw this in Brussels. Under the previous legislation, we had a lot of proof in terms of energy efficiency. There were a lot of debates at government level in terms of the objectives to reach, and there were many ministers, many different construction operators who were withstanding change. They were fighting over the target. Should it be 60 kilowatts per hour? Should it be 50? But since 2009, since this standard was implemented, this benchmark was made uniform among all operators. This enabled us to know that we knew the energy target. We could leave it on the side and maybe focus on the right questions. And the right questions for a project are not so much to know whether the building consumes 30 or 15 kilowatt per hour. It's rather the economic questions. We know it's affordable in Brussels, so we can leave this to the side and focus on the relevant questions. So this transition enabled us to really focus on the right questions for the project, such as the quality in terms of urbanism, in terms of project So we compare the projects in terms of what they bring to the city as added value, to what they bring to the citizens, to those people who will occupy those buildings.